Welcome, Sojourners. You have found yourself a cozy place here at Sojourners Awake. I'm Jonathan, and this is our production of The Bookish and the Brave. Like you, the Sojourners are on a mission. They face conflict and sometimes even danger. And in this most recent episode, the Sojourners plan to intercept the courier that is traveling from Bochen to the front lines of Tetherna. Lord Basile has a war strategy to press the advantage in this battle between the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Territories. Will the Sojourners intercept the courier? Most certainly not without incident. And so for now, our story continues.
As the Sojourners end a long day of hard travel trying to catch up to where they're expecting to intercept the courier, they settle down for a brief dinner before a short night's rest to get up again in the morning. Sitting around the campfire, Hawkins realizes that there's not a lot of energy. Everyone is pretty low still. He goes several minutes without touching his food, seeming to be thinking some things deeply, and then he stands and resolutely walks into the middle of the circle and begins to sort of walk around the fire, looking at his companions in turn as he speaks to them. And says, as a group, we have been through some very tough times lately. Sterling learned some things and he was shaken. He looks at Sterling, makes eye contact with him. He says, you lost your way for a while there. Asyndeton is blind now. He's learning to work through that, but I'm sure that every day remains a frustration. He looks at Asyndeton and says quietly to him, you also lost your way a few times. And now Vaughn's been separated from Ermonte and has to not only miss her while we're gone, but then also deal with her attitude when we return. But what matters the most right now is that we're here together. We have a mission, but it's not just any old task. If we succeed, we may save untold thousands of lives. We may get redemption from the failure that we suffered at the Shadow Monastery. We may get revenge for Asyndeton's blindness. If we continue to work together, it doesn't matter what we face in the morning. It doesn't matter how difficult it is, how long and hard we have to travel. I know that we can handle it, with each of us looking out for the other. Keep your chin up so you can look your brother in the eye. Keep your chin up so you can watch his back and you can see that he's watching yours. And we'll be all right. He finishes the circle and sits back down.
Thank you for the encouragement, Hawkins. I needed that, and I look forward to continuing with you, with all of you.
Sterling looks up from his scratching on the ground, kind of looks Hawkins in the eye, jestingly says, if you needed a soapbox, you could have just asked.
Well, you looked like you needed a little pick-me-up, and I didn't wait for you to ask.
Asyndeton doesn't really do anything. He's scratching at some dirt with a stick. And at Sterling's harsh words, he jerks his head a little bit, but basically allows himself to feel the warmth of the fire on his face.
A dark cloud of unnatural magic hangs low in the sky, providing a thick shadow from the daylight. It spreads for miles, creating a sickening dim that makes focusing erratic. A mighty fence of sand and shrapnel barricade a series of tents, which now surround the rapid construction of 3 wooden lookout towers. Goblins and orcs mindlessly obey in submission to the sons of war and their captains, and haul stones to fortify the hasty construction of these towers. Somewhere in the camp, the courier dwells, gathering and sharing intelligence from Lord Basile. And somewhere on its person is the document that lays out the plans of attack. However, intercepting this document means keeping it out of the hands of the war captains. Failing to do so means a bloody battle and impending doom. To the east, orcs dig trenches and pits under their dark clouds and wait for the sounds of war. A few grunts haul stones towards the watchtower to fortify its defenses. 3 watchtowers' hosts are canists who peer out into the horizon. And to the west, on the borders of the woods, the sons of war make camp and wait for their captain to give orders. You race towards the location to intercept the courier, hoping, praying you make it in time. The Sojourners press on with haste by adhering to the coordinates and making a series of cunning decisions. You know that time is of the essence. Lord Basile would have sent his courier from Bochen to the front lines, and it is anyone's game who would arrive before the other. The wilderness between the Corkscrew Highway and the border of Tetherna lie before you. As you press on, which one of you guides the way?
I think Vaughn, being the fastest among everybody, would be out in front, but he would definitely be looking to Hawkins for direction.
Vaughn, if you would make a survival check. Hawkins, if you would assist by making an investigation check. You're going for higher than a 10.
17 for me.
Also 17.
That is an astounding success. At this pace, you would arrive 1 day before the courier, according to your calculations. However, you do have someone in tow that is requiring a little bit of assistance. Sterling, you know that Asyndeton will need extra guidance to make it along the way and keep up the pace that Vaughn and Hawkins are leading. If you do so, how would you help?
So I think Sterling would have taken some of his thorns from his his seaweed thorn whip and kind of tied it to Asyndeton a little bit. So when he kind of, not a leash, but when he got a little bit off track, just kind of tug him a little bit. But I'd let him mostly feel his way. But when he needed to, and he'd keep talking to himself, he's kind of muttering to himself, of course, they don't trust the druid to find the way. I know nature, I know these things, but whatever, they can run off and do it themselves.
In that case, Asyndeton, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. You are going for a 16 or higher.
16 on the dot.
Asyndeton, you press onward with all your might, giving every ounce of your stamina towards following the lead of Sterling.
Could you go a little slower, Master Sterling? This ground is a little uncertain for my feet. And those thorns.
Oh, sorry. I thought I'd got the thorns off those ones.
No,
yeah,
you missed
sorry.
several. They're all in my hand now. Ouch.
Oh, I'm sorry. Botany is not my strong suit. But okay, yeah. Here, just follow my voice. I'm sorry. I've been talk about that dark cloud of sand and shrapnel. I got to get rid of this one in my head. But
it's fine.
We're moving forward.
Yes, I appreciate your guidance.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
There's another one.
Watch out there. Yeah. So how would you prefer to be led? You know, I've never. Usually, I'm the one being babysat. So what? Not that you would babysit. You know what I mean? But how would you prefer me to lead you?
No, it's absolutely fine the way you're doing it. I just need to get these off here.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Here, let me tie it to your robes instead.
That's much better. Yes. Oh,
okay.
And as you look down, his hand is bleeding, Sterling. 8 points of damage to you, Asyndeton, as you tie off the thorn whip on his robes. Wrists are now covered with a warm, sticky fluid. You can feel it draining down your elbow.
Oh yeah, I've made a bit of a mess there. I'm so sorry.
No, do not trouble yourself, Master Sterling. It's all right. I'm used to it.
Yeah, I did notice that you used to have blood on your hands quite frequently. What was that all about?
Oh dear, it's a very painful story, and one that perhaps I should. I lost someone very dear to me through actions of my own, and I feel the utmost remorse for it, and I suppose it's a form of punishment, lest I forget.
Oh, I feel like I've kind of been doing that to my friends recently, punishing them for. I mean, I'm pretty sure I told Hawkins I was looking for my mom, and to tell me if there was any genasi like experiences we had, but I can't rightly remember. I think I just. So I understand in the whole lashing out, and I'm hoping that this is leading you on a path to healing, a little bit better than me using my thorns.
I do as well. Do you hear or feel something nearby?
I smell something. It's gross. It smells like dark, dank caves, like something gross. I'm surprised you didn't pick it up. Maybe it's this fresh wind, but oh wait, I think
it's quite strong to me.
Vaughn, as Asyndeton and Sterling approach, you and Hawkins have found cover in the brush on the front of the camp. To your left are foul trenches where orcs and goblins hover. 3 towers keep watch on the borders of the camp, and to the right there are a series of tents where the Sons of War have made camp. You hear Asyndeton and Sterling approach.
Crashing through the bushes.
Sterling, Asyndeton, keep it down. Come over here.
I'm coming, Master Vaughn.
Quietly as possible.
Hawkins, what do you pay attention to?
Hawkins is looking for a way that they can get a good vantage over the enemy camp. So what's the closest they can get with good cover, that kind of a thing?
There are a series of options. One could easily move quietly through the trenches, hoping not to disturb the orcs. One could move boldly into the camp, assuming the form of the Sons of War. In some cases, a sneaky profile might prove to be suspicious. One could also travel through the woods to the right and attempt to bypass the camp altogether, coming at it from a northerly position. But the real information is wandering. According to your calculations, you should be here a day before the courier arrives. Keeping a sharp lookout for the courier should be of utmost importance. Most likely, the courier would go straight for the tents and deliver the information to the captain. With this information, how would you proceed?
Is there a way we can intercept the courier before he even gets to the camp? A likely place to perhaps ambush him or stop him from approaching.
Do we know which way he's going to be coming from?
From Bochen, I think.
And if there are any choke points or anything that we could use to better estimate from which direction he will come, that might be a good place to set it up. Of course, once he gets into the camp, then I suppose everything is open.
Do we We should try to find a place. Since we don't think he's going to be here yet, we should try to find a place to ambush him far enough away from the camp that if we happen to make some noise, they might not notice us. Where do you think we should go?
I think we have about a day before he comes. We could try to stay maybe in these woods, see how far off to the right they go, because that's the direction he'll be coming from. Maybe we can send somebody out once we have a camp set up to see if there's a spot farther away from the enemy army that we could set up an ambush. But we could at least, stay out of sight in these woods here, hopefully.
This sounds like a good idea. Once we find a place to settle our group, I will sneak out and do some reconnaissance. Let's go over here to the right of the camp and see if we can't find a hollow or a place that we can settle in for the next few hours.
Agreed.
There is a chance that either a watcher or a patrolling guard from the camp could see you. Assuming all 4 of you are making this move, everyone roll a stealth check. You need to roll at 11 or higher. Vaughn with a 21, Asyndeton with a 14, Hawkins with a 16, Sterling with a 5.
Of course.
Vaughn, you effectively lead the team, moving quietly using the sickening haze, this unnatural fog as cover. Your sharp lookout, Hawkins, signals to Vaughn because you have a perfect line of sight to when the arcanists in the towers turn their back. Using your hand motions, you signal Vaughn to lead Asyndeton by the crook of his arm into the hollow, safely into the woods. Sterling, for whatever reason, you deviate. Taking your own path, you cut a little ways into what looks like a small clearing, a brush. And as you stumble into the brush, a soldier turns around, just having relieved himself. He immediately puts his hand on the pommel of his sword, not recognizing you. For Sterling, if you would take a minute to describe how you appear to this Sons of War.
So Sterling would have been crawling through the brush and he would have fallen a little bit, so he would be muddy in his indigo robes. He would have leaves and twigs and things sticking out in different areas, just kind of really unkempt. His beard's coming back a little bit, it's kind of scruffy, but and he's sweating profusely. So whereas his skin always has like a nice little sheen to it, it's now dripping and drenching his robes. And he'll walk out of the woods and be like, "Whew, don't go in there."
The Son of War, now wearing the red and black of the Assembly of Bochen, puts his hand on his sword, immediately recognizes your indigo robes, and draws his weapon and says, "Halt!" Very startled at the stumble upon you have walked in onto his privacy. He puts the sword immediately to your throat and says, "Stand back! And what is your business?"
Do you want me to halt or do you want me to stand back? I'm confused. I was just walking through the woods. I found these robes a little while back and I've been walking through these. As you can see, I'm a little unkempt. But what are you doing here?
What company are you with?
Company? I'm unemployed, mate.
I used to work for Amazon.
Oh gosh. I need you to make a deception check. 18 or higher.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nope, can't do that. Okay. Yeah, he got a 12.
12. He keeps the sword at your throat, threatening to end your life, and says, just turn around and put your hands behind your back.
Sterling will comply.
He roughly handles you and restrains your wrists. And just keep your eyes forward, and he starts to point you in the direction of the tents. Vaughn, you hear a series of 3 footsteps leading behind you and you're missing that ever heavy footfall of Sterling. You turn around and you see that there is a son of war, a backpack on his shoulder, a long sword poking into the back of Sterling and leading Sterling straight towards the enemy camp.
Vaughn is going to wave the other guys on, and he's going to run back and try to sneak up on this guy and punch him a bunch of times.
All right, Vaughn, you definitely move through that area. Let's make it a 15 or higher stealth check.
How about 30?
Whoa, like a ninja, Vaughn, you're crawling on all fours, just not making any sound, keeping such a low profile that someone from a distance of 300 yards wouldn't even recognize you as a human, but simply a furry animal scurrying through the forest. You have approached this man who is leading Sterling, and he has got yet a couple hundred yards before he reaches the camp.
So what Vaughn would like to do is, with his first blow, he would like to try to give the guy dead arm and make him drop his sword. And then he's going to try to knock him out with the other blows.
All right, he's unaware, so roll a 7 or higher on attack.
Okay. That's going to be a pair of 17s.
Yeah. Boom, boom. The sword drops. His hand just completely goes limp. Sterling, you feel the blade poking into your back. Do you continue walking? The blade has stopped poking into your back.
No, Sterling would stop and be like, oh, okay, I guess Vaughn's here.
Vaughn, continue on. The man has dead arm.
The first blow was going to knock that sword out, and then he was going to just try to punch him as many as 3 times upside the head, non-lethal damage to knock him out, however many punches it takes.
I would say the punches are going to be easy. Go ahead and roll damage dice, and let me know if you make any max damage.
All right. That's minimum damage, so that's 6 for the first one. It's going to be 10 for the next one. Do I need to keep punching?
With all your punches, I want to see if you just get any maximum.
I did not. I got 2 10s and a 6.
All right, he's going to take a shot. He's going to instinctively reach for a crossbow. As he's falling to the ground, I'm just going to see if he misfires and shoots you with a bolt. So here he goes. +5. A 12 to hit you. No, it just goes wide. The bolt goes off, and you're able to knock him completely unconscious on the ground. This is causing a disturbance, though. So, if you would roll another stealth check, it's increasing to a 20.
So Sterling reaches in his pocket, pulls out a piece of mistletoe, and says, I should have just did this in the first place, and casts Pass Without a Trace. And I said, hey, Vaughn, as a bonus, we've got a hostage now.
So with the Pass Without a Trace, my roll is now a 25.
Mine's a 28.
Yeah, and the mist attracted to you now. This sickening haze seems to obediently swirl around you, Sterling, creating a small fog. And somewhere up in the tower, this woman with black hair pulls her hair to the side and peers in the distance. Thought I saw something. This haze. If it wasn't for these orcs, we could have better viewing. She resumes her post. The man lies unconscious at your feet. Vaughn.
Vaughn's going to, as quickly as possible, drag him to cover. And then as soon as he's found some cover, he's going to throw him over his shoulder and proceed to proceed in the direction that I sent the other guys.
Hawkins, as you look back, you can see this sickening haze follows Vaughn wherever he goes. As he drags this man, this cloud just gently moves across the plains and into the crowded woods, where the 4 of you reconvene.
Well, it looks like we have a new friend. Let's gag him and tie him up, and let's take him with us.
I leave it to Sterling to make a friend on a mission.
Yeah, if you gag him, I won't be able to talk to him.
Exactly.
Whoever ties him up, make an intelligent sleight of hand check. A sleight of hand check.
Vaughn would probably just do it.
Go for it.
13?
It's a 13 DC for him to untie himself. Asyndeton, how do you proceed?
I've been thinking. Obviously, we could stop the courier, and if the message never gets there, then, what happens then? If no message arrives and they're expecting one, that may alert them and cause more commotion. What if we were to instead replace the message with one that is sending them in the wrong direction or confusing them? That might be a better way to handle this situation. I don't know. If that's too complicated, certainly we can stick to the plan, but just something to think about.
I think the three of you are smart enough to make that happen.
How would we make the switch? If we had some way to make him fall asleep or something, but then he'd probably know something happened to him.
Or if he were accosted or distracted by something, and someone could swap the message.
What kind of uniform do you think he'd be wearing? Do you think it'd be the same one as this guy? And points to the guy on the floor.
Does it look like that would fit any of us?
Looks like a pretty good fit for you.
For me?
Probably Vaughn too, but
So if he'd be wearing something like that, then we could just deliver a message, and then when the courier comes, because they've already thought they've got the message, they won't be expecting him.
That's very true. Well reasoned.
Well, I suppose we could try this on and see if that is the right plan. If not, we can wait for him and figure it out from there. Who has the skill to draw that new proposal up?
well, if the goal is to confuse him, we could have Sterling try to write a good plan for him.
An excellent idea.
And
I needed a good laugh.
I could write it so that it is done in appropriate official style.
Sounds good to me.
And I believe I've seen enough official documentation that I could approximate some sort of stamp on it that would make it look legitimate.
Have you seen the stamp of Lord Basile?
Oh, let me see. Jonathan.
Yeah, I think...
I would imagine that Vaughn has.
I think actually Vaughn, what I like the idea of is that Vaughn's seen it, but has to describe it to Asyndeton.
Oh, man. That's going to be awesome.
Vaughn, you have seen the stamp of Basile. Asyndeton, you have seen so many stamps that you do not remember which one would be Basile's or not. Vaughn.
Master Vaughn, if you could guide my hand, I would be happy to try and approximate it.
I can describe to you what I've seen so many
Yes,
times.
describe it to me. I'll start drawing.
And Sterling slaps him on the back and says, "You've got this." And
Ouch!
casts guidance. Oh, sorry, I don't know my own strength, but may the stars guide.
Oh, thank you. I feel tingling in my fingers. This is wonderful. When you're ready, Master Vaughn, I think I am.
Vaughn, if you would make a performance check, I'm going to say it's a 15 or higher.
Wonderful. Come on, baby. Oh, natural 20.
Oh, Vaughn, this image could never be erased from your memory. And with great instinctual power, you describe in vivid detail. With this much detail, Asyndeton, you do not need to try.
I do want to hear what Vaughn comes up with for the description, though.
Vaughn.
So, Asyndeton, it's that tree. I don't remember what it's called, but it's that one I showed you right outside of the library. And
Oh, the yew tree, yes.
yes, that one. And you remember we walked past that, and then that Eunice, he has that snake. It's not the normal snake. I don't remember what it's called, but you've seen Eunice's snake before. It's his pet. It's just like Eunice's snake, but it's a little bit larger, and it's wrapped itself around the trunk of the tree.
Ah, Caduceus-like, yes.
Yes.
Like this.
Yes, that looks like it. And
Now,
then
does the head go to the left or to the right?
To the left. To the left. Yes.
Excellent. We're making good progress, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And then in the tree, there is. It's very faint in the leaves, but there's the face of a woman, and she's very beautiful but ominous. It's super hard to describe, but she looks a lot like. Well, no, I think it is. Oh man. It's the lady you said that you fought when we were getting the Black Lotus. But,
Blood.
Yes.
Blood.
Yes. Yes. The lady. Well, Sterling knows, and you should all know by now. Well, you.
Starblood, yes.
Yes. I was not there, but we've heard the stories from Sterling before.
Okay.
It's a very faint image of her face in the tree leaves.
I know her face very well. Yes, okay. And a little smudge here and a twitch there.
I think that looks like it, yes.
Excellent.
That will pass.
Wonderful.
Hawkins, as Vaughn and Asyndeton work this image out, how do you spend your time and what do you pay attention to?
He has seen Basil's stamp as well, from having done some business interactions with him. So he's kind of half looking up and half looking down and sort of checking over the work, and everything's looking remarkably good. So he's, keeping his ears paying attention to what's going on around, noises in the woods, but sort of supervising the drawing as well.
And as you are keeping one ear to the ground, so to speak, make a perception check. I'm going to roll against you. 26. Sterling, you are not paying attention to the surrounding areas, but you are spending your time doing something else while this conference happens. What is it?
Yeah, he's paying attention to his new friend on the floor, just kind of like, oh, I see you met Vaughn. Yeah, he's a nice guy once you get to know him. And he's checking out the knots, making sure that Vaughn tied him up real good, and just kind of like checking him out. So kind of seeing what insignia and weapons he's got on him, those kind of things. Maybe definitely removing his weapons from him as well.
This man keeps a close eye on your hands, and after removing the weapons, he is paying attention to everything you are doing. You see his eyes look over at Vaughn, his eyes darting back and forth at Sterling, at Hawkins. He smiles a knowing smile.
That's easy for you to say. Let me. Then he removes the gag a little bit.
You think you can intercept the courier? That's what you're trying to do, is not?
Okay, so you are smarter than you look, but maybe.
You cannot stop this war. You are from Baldtop. The robes betray you. I thought you were not supposed to put your hands into matters that did not pertain to your precious books. I thought you were supposed to be neutral.
Yeah, we're all about learning and stuff, and we want to learn what this courier, what message he has. So, this is kind of our jurisdiction a little bit. The flow of information, we like to, take care of that, protect it a little bit, and see what's going on. But yeah, I think that's enough out of you. Probably shouldn't talk while they're busy, so he puts the gag back on him and says, "But we're gonna need those clothes, mate. So I know it's a little chilly. I'm gonna put you by the fire. No, there's no fire, but I'll put you somewhere warm."
He speaks through the gag.
Sterling's not interacting. He's already done more than he probably should have.
And indeed, you remove his insignia and his military uniform. His clothes folded to the side in Sterling's possession. The stamp of Basile, complete. Hawkins, having indicated that you were keeping your ear out, you hear footsteps, only instead of moving through the forest and coming from the direction of Bochen, somehow it has already passed you and is heading towards the camps. And you see there's a man. He is dressed in purple robes, and he is running with haste, but not in a full sprint. His satchel is slung to his side, and he is cradling it as if it was a small child. He is looking left and right, as if in great urgency, and running towards the camps.
Hawkins will call out just exactly loudly enough to get everyone's attention and point at the guy who seems to be up to something, at least. He's going to get his crossbow out and try one of his new shots, which, if it's successful, will cause the target to fall prone.
12 or higher.
Oh, no. 13. Does not do a lot of damage, but it does cause the target to fall. 9 damage, 12 damage, and target falls prone.
This man is running, looking left and right, still moving through the haze. Hawkins, the haze envelops him. You close your eyes, having memorized his locations, pattern recognizing where his footsteps will be in the next few seconds. You position your crossbow immediately to the right and fire in faith. And then you hear a stumble. A man cries out.
As soon as Hawkins yelled out, Vaughn would have immediately jumped up and started sprinting towards the man.
You rush through the haze and the fog. You intercept, and hearing the cries now, this man writhes on the floor.
Vaughn would jump on top of him and throw his hand over his mouth. And if he continues to make noise, Vaughn would punch him in the side of the head until he fell asleep.
He's going to continue to make noise, so I'll allow you to smother him with a stealth check or knock him out with an athletics check. Asyndeton.
I'm going to cast suggestion on him, and I'm going to tell him he needs to be silent. So there's a wisdom saving throw with a DC of 15.
11.
Okay. You will be silent until we tell you can speak.
And at that moment, Vaughn's hand goes over his mouth and he just passes out. He gets quiet. His eyes flutter open. Vaughn, he is not struggling. Removing your hand, you see that his lips are sealed. He's looking left and right for the source of this commanding magic.
Vaughn would start to pull him back towards our little camp area. If he comes willingly, that's great. If not, he's going to force him.
Vaughn, you drag the man. He seems to be somewhat compliant, as if he is dizzy, maybe from lack of oxygen, from being suffocated, possibly from some kind of spell that Asyndeton has wrought. As you drag him into the camp, you now see his face, as well as does the Son of War. Vaughn, I think you would recognize him immediately. His name is Gumption, and he is the fellow you saw in Vacatino. Every story comes to an ending, so for now, we must conclude. Thank you for listening, Sojourners. Your attention will not go unrewarded, and we look forward to continuing this adventure. If you enjoyed this background music and ambiance, you should visit Tabletop Audio. Find them at www.tabletopaudio.com. And take the time to sojourn with us. For heartwarming tales around the table, you can subscribe to my newsletter from Substack. Subscribe to the paid version and receive free adventures on a monthly basis, written by my own hand. You can also find articles on playing your very own tabletop role-playing games at www.sojournersawake.com. But however you choose to sojourn with us, as always, may your story continue.